Today on the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast, it is a storm of fire in New York City. That's right. Fire is firing down on New York City, and it is burning alive. That's right. Get ready for me to say that over the next couple of years. We're going to talk a lot about what is happening to this country today, and it's going to be all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. Today is Monday, and it is sunny here in Florida, and there is some construction going on outside. So if you do hear anything in the background, which I doubt you will, but if you hear anything in the background, that's what it is. We have a very interesting show for you today. Going to take a little bit of a different ride. Usually, Ryan and I put together a series of clips on different news items. Today, we're going to kind of stick in one channel. And that is, I am going to raise for you the concerns that you should have about what could be taking place in New York City over the next week. I'm going to go deep into my beliefs about where the mistakes have happened in this country, where they continue to happen in this country, to the point of we now have a Muslim socialist about to take over the largest city in the world, let alone the financial epicenter of the United States of America. I don't think anybody, including President Trump, has allowed this to sink in. I don't think anybody has come to terms with what it is that we're really talking about here. Now, yours truly, since the day that I ran from the Trade Center when they were attacked on September 11, I have always stayed true to the promise that I made to not only myself, but to Mrs. Kane, the mother of George Kane, fallen fireman who tried saving lives on 9/11 and did so having to give his own. And I have vowed that I would always ring the bell of alarm, that I would always tell the story. And quite honestly, every single morning of my life, I go and I say my prayers every morning. And then after that, I speak to who I believe are my angels. And one of those angels is George Kane. Now, I've never met George Kane in my life. Never. I've only seen a picture of him, and that picture comes on a prayer card that was handed out at his funeral. And yet, in the strangest way, I feel as if this man is my brother. And I pray every day, like I said, and then I speak to him. And this morning I said the same thing I said yesterday and the day before and the day before. I said, George, I will continue my promise to calling out what is the dangers on what happened on September 11 and what it is that we're doing to our country. Now, for some of you who have been with me for a while, you know, I hit a diversity of topics all the time. I try to make the program here as interesting and entertaining and informative as I possibly can. And to do that, you know, I've also got to keep your interest. And I realize that if you keep hitting the same drum after, you know, show after show after show, people are like, hey, can we change the tune a little bit? But I felt it be apropos for what it is that I saw happen last night, that I just focus in one more time before the election coming up about what we can expect if Stop Mamdani wins the mayoral race. And as of right now, if there was the gun to my head and all my money on the line, I'd have to say he's going to win because the right steps, the right measures have not been taken. Now, for those of you who do follow me on Facebook and get to see everything I do, I know that's rare, but you know, if I am constantly in your feed or you come back and you check at the page, you would have seen that this morning I had ignited another morning video, which, by the way, I'm trying to do 7 days a week. Usually happens around definitely 5 days when I have the podcast here. I don't always do it because they kind of stack on top of each other. But this morning I did it because it was that important. And this morning I sort of laid out how it is that the United States can maybe, it's a little maybe too late, but how they may be able to stop Mamdani. And we're going to get to that in a moment. But what I want to do first, I'm going to do something in reverse. I'm going to do something that I find to be necessary. Every show, Ryan and I highlight a crazy leftist. And usually it's somebody who you don't know. Very easy to find these videos. They're all over TikTok. I don't use TikTok. I will never use TikTok until the United States owns TikTok. But what happens over there on Elon Musk's X is that the TikTok videos are just always shared everywhere. It's so easy to find these things. But usually the people in the TikTok videos either have the pink hair or, it's a man dressed up as a woman. They're freaks, right? I like the videos better to where the person that you're viewing, the person that you're seeing, if they had their mouth shut and you were standing on line next to them at the Home Depot, you'd be like, this is a totally normal person. It's not until they open up their mouth that they reveal who they really are. We're going to start off this show, and I don't think I've ever done this before, but we're going to start off this show with a crazy left video. And it ain't a short one. This video goes for 5 minutes. But I think it is necessary for you to watch because, and if you're on audio, it is necessary for you to listen. And the reason being is that there is a large majority of people in the United States who are not only Democrat, but think like this maniac that I am about to present to you, who is filming himself at the border of Canada because he feels that the Trump administration is so authoritarian that he needs to flee, at least for a couple of weeks, he says. So I don't know this gentleman's name, and I don't think it freaking matters. He filmed himself, he put it out public, and therefore it's free game. I want you to watch this and listen to this. For those of you who are on audio, this man is probably in his late 50s, looks totally normal. He's got his hair gray, he's got eyeglasses, whatever. There's nothing that looks abnormal about this man. And yet, when you listen to him talk, you say, what the hell has happened to the United States of America? Ryan, play the video.
Well, here we are. It's Friday, and we are just literally minutes away from the border to Canada as we flee the U.S. Who would have thought at age 60 that this would be our day and our plan and our actions? And I know fleeing sounds dramatic and like something from a movie, but it's really true. We just feel so scrutinized and so silenced and so being portrayed as enemies within and being portrayed as domestic terrorists because we're standing up for what we believe in this country and what we believe is being violated and is going into an authoritarian regime, and is in it actually, and has been since he hit the ground running in January, the day he was inaugurated. It's really frightening, and it's really unsettling, and there's just no peace in that the folks that follow him and voted for him are just being barraged with this indoctrination by this cult of personality to believe through just repeated messaging that Democrats are the enemy within, his words, that all Democrats across the board are domestic terrorists, again, his words, that this straw man that they're building with Antifa to give them something to be outraged about, that they feel they need to take up some sort of vigilantism to seek out and seek retribution on their own. It's just whipping up this frenzy of hatred, just like 80 years ago in Germany in the 40s, when the authoritarian regime there and their leader were messaging out the same things about how races within their country were the enemy within, were animals, were rats that needed to be exterminated. Just like this guy said a few weeks ago, that Democrats were just a bug on our shoulder that just needs to be squashed and swatted away. There's so many parallels in history that are being seen all over again. And who would have thought here in the 21st century, years, hundreds of years after a civil war, after fighting for freedom in the 1940s and the 1950s, to keep authoritarian regimes like this out of our country and off of our soil, that somebody would rise up from within our country with no political experience and whip up this frenzy of ego and power to try to, again, divisively create this enemy that is anti-Christian, because that's a real trigger and that's a real knee-jerk to a lot of his followers, that they're trying to destroy us, and they're trying to destroy our values when you look at it, and they're destroying the values in their actions because of who they are. Anyway, here we are. It finds us crossing over into Canada for a few weeks to get a taste of what freedom and diversity and friendship and everything is like. Again, something that we have lost and forgotten since January, with years to go in this regime. Oh my God, 10 months. It seems like a lifetime. But anyway, we'll go there. We'll check it out for 3 weeks. We'll reevaluate, see what the plan is. If it's longer, if it's extended, if it's semi-permanent, I don't know. But here's where we're at. We'll update you more as we go.
So I play that for you because I think that gentleman is representative of the Democrats in this country. I really do. And I don't know if that indoctrination came from school, from grammar school. That man is too old to remember what he was taught verbatim when he was in the 6th grade. I think that comes strongly from the mainstream media. The media has made it in such a way to where Trump and Trump supporters, as you just heard this man say, are indoctrinated. I mean, some of the things that man just said is that you and I, as Trump voters, have been and continue to be indoctrinated as if we're stupid and we are going to be indoctrinated by anybody. Donald Trump is doing nothing more or less than following the Constitution and following through on his campaign promises to secure the border, to clean up U.S. cities that have been full of illegal aliens, criminals, drugs, homelessness. He has made 9 peace deals so far in his first 10 months. He is trying to stop wars, unlike the Democrats, who ignite wars, who love wars. He has done nothing to show that he is a king. If he were a king, the government wouldn't be shut down, and Democrats would all be in jail, if not hung. Democrats are the enemy. It's one of the things he says, that Trump is trying to tell you and I that Democrats are the enemy. Well, I bring your attention to the screen on the right of me. If you saw my video over the weekend, then you know what it is that I'm talking about here. On Amazon.com right now, and it is still up today. It is still up today. On Amazon.com, if you search for 8647 shirt, 86, you know what 86 is? 86 is code for, kill, get rid of. 47 is code for Trump. The top 3 sellers right now, and in fact, Amazon is pushing one limited time deal. The number one is No Kings, 8647. The next one is 8647. The next one has 86 with a lightning bolt 47. They're selling these on Amazon. You're going to tell me Democrats aren't the enemy? We've got one of the largest companies in the world, basically the biggest retailer in the world, dominating everything, knocking small businesses out of business. We're talking about Amazon, filled with liberals who work there, headquartered in Seattle, the mecca of all craziness. And these shirts have been reported countless times. My video over the weekend alone, which was tagged to Amazon, has been, and I'm talking about has been watched over 100,000 times. The message has been sent to Amazon. Amazon responded to one of my listeners by saying that it would be down, that it would be investigated, it would be down. That was a week ago. It's still up. 8647? Yeah, I would say that it's fair to say the Democrats are the enemy. Then he turns around and says Antifa is a straw man, as if Trump is trying to make Antifa into something it's not. Have you seen what Antifa people do? They get dressed up, they cover their faces, they beat on people, they attack journalists, they stop mothers in their cars. These people are horror shows. They make it sound as if like this is 3 punks on a corner. It's not the case. It's a national movement. Antifa is anti-government, anti-conservative, anti-ICE, anti-rules. Antifa wants it to be where there are no rules in this country. Frenzy of hatred. A frenzy of hatred. Let me ask you, when was the last time that you saw conservatives beat on liberals for no reason? The evil, the frenzy of hatred is always seen in the Democrats. How many videos have you seen online? How many videos have you seen on the show where Democrats become so unhinged that the only thing that they can turn to is violence? Maxine Waters, who's been in Congress as long as, I don't know. I mean, she dates back to the dinosaurs. And she has stood up and explicitly said, you get in their faces. You cause issues. Chuck Schumer told Supreme Court justices, we're going to come after you. The left is forever igniting fights. And the amazing thing is that if the conservatives were ever to fight back, you have a liberal, one of these Antifa punks or one of these pink-haired idiots come up to a conservative. I would even say just me. I'm going to use me. I'm not going to put somebody else into the spot. Let me explain to you without question. You would never, ever have a leftist, one of these people you see at these punky little gatherings. They come up to somebody like me and get in my face. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to put that person into the ER. They are going to be breathing out of tubes if they touch me or my family. If they attack me, they've got about 3 seconds to breathe. Because I won't take their stuff. That's one of the reasons why I moved to Florida. In Florida, you have this thing called stand your ground. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's one of those rules that you don't ever want to use because conservatives, and like myself, we're not inherently violent. We prefer to share love and give love. I mean, I go upstairs every morning and do my prayers. And one of the things I say to the Lord is I say, Lord, thank you for what you've given me. You've given me my life. I am nothing without you. I am everything because of you. And the pain and suffering that you endured is why I'm alive today and why it is that I have this opportunity. And I owe it to you for what you've done to me. I owe it to you to share love because God is love. So inherently, through my religious beliefs, love is what I'm supposed to be spreading, not fighting, not violence. But at the same time, if you are going to threaten, if you are going to put shirts out, if you are going to indicate to me that you are going to cause harm to myself or to my family, I'm going to end you. The problem is nobody ever does it because everybody's afraid that they're going to get in trouble because the leftists never get in trouble. It's only the right side. It's only the conservatives who get in trouble. And that is because we usually do not have anybody on our own side in Washington, D.C. or in the courts who are willing and able to protect us and stand up for what they know is right. The next thing he says, he compares us and compares Trump again to Germany 1940. He doesn't go out and actually say the word Hitler, but we know what he is referring to. Hitler. They want to compare Trump to Hitler. Explain to me how that equates. Hitler took Jews, put them into ovens, and massacred them. Trump, if he were Hitler, I don't know about you, but he was just in the Middle East creating a peace deal so this way Jews can live free. How do you make that math work? How do you circle that square? You can't. Next thing he says, Trump is in office with no political experience. Well, somebody explain to me how Joe Biden's 50 years of experience helped. Somebody explain to me how it is that being a junior senator in the state of Illinois helped Barry be good. Barack. Political experience? I think that's what makes Trump the best. His political experience has been and always will be that he saw what it is corruption was like when they all walked into his office, single file, one after the next, both Democrat and Republican, trying to get him to give over money. He understands the game. He understands the game. Thankfully, he doesn't have political experience. But if I were to prove this man wrong, how could this guy who is leaving right now for Canada say that Donald J. Trump, who served 4 years as the president of the United States, has no political experience? Explain that to me. Explain it. It's unexplainable. Then, of course, he goes on to talk about how it is that there is a false, fake, anti-Christian movement in this country. Okay. There is no way for me to ignore this. There is an anti-Christian movement, and we're going to be showing it in the next few minutes when I take you to New York City. And the reason why I'm going down this is because this man, he hit all the bullet points. He hit all the bullet points that the Democrats talk about every single day. He concludes by saying that he's going to Canada because he wants to finally see what freedom and diversity looks like. Freedom. Canada? Do we remember what happened to the truckers who were protesting against their own government? Their trucks were taken away. Their banks were closed down. You think that's freedom, you moron? Diversity? Diversity? You want diversity? Go into the cheese department at your local freaking shop mart. You can see a whole bunch of different cheeses. But diversity, what is it that you want? Do you want more illegal aliens? Do you want more Islamic terror? Do you want more Chinese nationals? Tell me exactly what it is that you're looking for in diversity that you don't already have in this country. The diversity in this country is over the top. We've let it gone too far. There is no better example about the diversity of the United States than Zohan Mamdani, who I am telling you right now, unless there is an act of God, this man is going to win the mayoral race of the biggest city in the world. The biggest financial mecca is what he'd like to call it in the world. New York City is going to be taken over by a radical Muslim socialist. Say that to yourself for a second. Understand what it is that we're saying. It's almost like a friggin' movie you wouldn't believe. It almost sounds like fake news, does it not? The thing that confuses the hell out of me, but again, I guess it doesn't because the Democrats never surprise me on anything. There are actually mainstream Democrats who are aligning with a socialist, with a Muslim, pro-Hamas, pro-connected to a brother Muslim Brotherhood man who hasn't been in this country for all that long. Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, is telling the voters of New York that you will be able to take back America. The way you take back America is by voting for this man. I can't do that math. I can't understand how she comes up with that. But she did in front of 13,000 people last night at a rally for this guy. Here are her words. Play it, Ryan.
This is about this November's election, but take that energy, that passion, and take it into 26 so that we can take back the House of Representatives, take the Senate, and take back our country. With your help, we will. Elect Soren, and we take back America. Thank you, Queens. Thank you, New York. God love you guys.
Now, when we play these videos, what I often do is I try to read your comments. And of course, there's some names on here who I know because you've been following me forever, and I have a lot of respect for them. So this is one of those cases where I'm going to call somebody out who I absolutely think is the best. Kim Donnelly has been following me, I think, forever, and she just wrote, "They will get what they vote for." Now, I know Kim well enough. She's Team DML. She means New York. Kim, with all due respect, I love you. No, you're wrong. We will get what they vote for. We will get, not they. If this was a topic of they, especially for my nice little palm tree perch here in Florida, I wouldn't give a rat's ass. If you tell me that they're going to paint the Capitol in Seattle, the Capitol building, pink with, purple polka dots, I ain't going to give a rat's ass. I'll say, okay, well, you know what? They're getting what they voted for. No. No. That's why I'm doing this program like this today. One focus. We are going to get what they vote for. Because what you watch happen in New York in the next freaking week is going to spread like wildfire. That's why I opened up and said it is firing down on New York. Hell's fire. In a good way. If you love hell, like these jihadis love hell, what you're going to watch happen to New York is unfathomable. Because what has happened so far in your life is that you see the videos of Dearborn and you say, I've never been to Dearborn. Of course you haven't been to Dearborn. Who the hell goes to Detroit anymore, especially on the west side of Detroit, unless you work in a Ford factory? Nobody goes to Dearborn. You look at Dearborn, ugh, who would live there? Well, there were people who lived there. People who looked and breathed and believed just like you lived in Dearborn. I know this to be true because when I made my film, They Come to America 3, going back maybe 8 years ago, the tour guide was a man who looked just like me, a bit older, who had lived there for his entire life and said, I've lost my city. This is coming to a city near you at freaking nanosecond speed once this finalizes. So it's not they going to get what they voted for. We're going to get what they voted for. The next video is Mamdani himself telling the people of New York, in part, what they're going to get when they vote for him. Play it, Ryan.
Here is what we stand for, my friends. We are going to freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants and use every resource at our disposal to build housing for everyone who needs it. We are going to eliminate the fare on every single bus line and make what are currently the slowest buses in the nation move around this city with ease. And we are going to create universal childcare at no cost to parents, so New Yorkers can raise their family in the city they love. Together, New York, we're going to freeze the... Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and... Together, New York, we're going to deliver universal... We will make our city one where every person who calls it home can live a dignified life.
It's funny, I'm going to get into what he just said there for a second, but again, I'm reading your comments as we cut the video. There's a lady, Wendy, who says, stop trashing on Dearborn, offer solutions. Oh, Wendy, you must be new to the gang. First of all, I'm not going to stop trashing on Dearborn. Dearborn is a trash collector. I've said it to my friends numerous times, and I will say it to you, Wendy. If I were to blindfold you and give you 2 Xanax and say, have a nice little sleep, I'll wake you up when we get there, and I was to take you blindfolded, you had no idea how long you were on that flight, you had no idea where the hell you were, I stood you in the middle of Dearborn, and I took the blindfold off and said, you got 10 seconds, do a 360, and tell me where we are in the world. You would not guess Dearborn. You would not guess Michigan. You would not guess the United States of America. You would have guessed somewhere in the Middle East. That is how unbelievably bad it is. And that's what I saw 8 years ago. There's no American flags. In fact, when I was going up and down the streets, the guy said to me, he goes, you're going to see only one American flag here on an entire lawn, and it's somebody who looks like you and me, and it's a statement. Everybody else, no American flags, satellite dishes all pointing to the east, women in full burqa, signs on stores all written in Arabic. Prayers in the middle of the day, mosques the size of Home Depots. Don't trash on Dearborn, offer solutions. There's not a day that goes by that I don't offer a solution on this show, on the Facebook page, or on my app, or on my videos. You know, yesterday I posted a video saying how it is and why it is that women who are in their 40s, who are Democrats, who are at these no kings, why they're miserable. And boy, did I wind up getting a lot of backlash from those liberals themselves. And it's very easy. I'm never holding back. I always tell it as it is. And I said to these women, I said, you have daddy issues. And then what winds up happening is they come back at me and they only prove it true. I'll give you an example. I had one woman just blasted me. And I said, oh, I can tell by the way she's blasting me. She's so evil. She's so angry. Let me go in and take a look at her profile. And there it was, cats, she's got pictures of cats all over the place. Not a single guy in a photograph with her. And I went back. And I said, you know what? I said, you proved my point. You're miserable. I said, you're sitting there posting cats because you got nothing else. And she came back to me and said, laugh out loud. I've never posted a picture of a cat in my life. I took the screenshot from her own page and showed it to her, and she still denies what she sees. I had another guy, the reason why I bring this up, tell me that, what I'm saying, nobody cares about what I have to say. Do you know how many people my content on Facebook alone has reached in the last 90 days? In the last 90 days. And to put it into perspective, I was on vacation for 5 weeks. Didn't post to Facebook. 90 days, which really is 60 days. 250 million people. 250 million people have viewed my content. And almost every single time, Wendy, I have given a solution because I talk about this topic more than anything else. So I'll give you the solution right now for Mamdani. There is a representative out of Florida, Representative Fine, who is calling on this administration to start looking right now. They should have already done it months ago, and they didn't. Instead of having Trump, and I voted for Trump 3 times, and I think he's a fantastic president, and I think J.D. Vance is doing a phenomenal job, and I would get behind J.D. Vance for 2028, believe me. But I don't need to have Trump in Malaysia right now. I need Trump home. I just filled up my gas tank yesterday. It was $75. We've got some serious crap happening at home, and nobody's doing anything about it. We've got a guy who is a Muslim socialist about to take over our largest city and empower Muslim Islamic extremists like nothing you have ever seen in your life, because you haven't gone to Dearborn, Wendy. You haven't gone to London and seen the no-go zones. You haven't. You just sat on Facebook and freaking put out statements. Well, I've been there. The way that you stop this problem, short-term and long-term, Representative Fine wants the government, the Trump administration, to look deep into the paperwork of one Zohran Mamdani. The majority of the paperwork that is filed, you will always be able to find some inaccuracy, some error, something that didn't equate on these people's citizenship papers. Look what they just did. When there's a will, there's a way. Trump can't stand Letitia James. And so now what do we have? We got Letitia James. We looked back into her for 30 years and we found that she is going to be guilty of mortgage fraud. She is accused of it, but when you look at all the facts that have been laid out, it is impossible to believe that this woman didn't commit that. Why do we not have any resources right now on Mamdani? Ryan, chalk up the short little video. of Mamdani talking about his auntie. Don't play it just yet. Last week, we had Mamdani sitting on, television, I should say standing on television amid Muslims, telling them how he feels for them because after 9/11, the victim in 9/11 was his auntie, not the 3,000 people who got killed by Islamic terrorists and by a lackadaisical immigration system in this country where paperwork was freaking fraudulent and lied on. Thus why I support Representative Fine. Let's look into this guy's paperwork. We can find something and we can make it to where his citizenship is negated and he cannot be the New York mayor. Why this isn't happening, I have no idea. It's the same reason why I can't understand that the Trump administration will go after Antifa, but will not go after the Muslim Brotherhood and name them a domestic terrorist group or an international terrorist group for that nature. Because Muslim Brotherhood is 10 times more vicious than Antifa. But it's not happening. Got to wonder why. Is it because Qatar gave us a free airplane? We're getting our asses kicked. They are tricking us something terrible. So Mamdani goes out and he's crying about how it is. I mean, the fake tears were unbelievable. He's crying about how his auntie, when he thinks back about his auntie, I think back about my auntie and how she was afraid to ride the subway with her hijab on. Really? Play the video, Ryan.
I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
So, there just so happens to be a report, and here is the report. From January 2000 to 2003, for 4 years, Tanzania, that's where it is that his auntie, she didn't live in New York City. And on top of that, here's the photo of her. She didn't wear a hijab. So based on the reporting that is all over, and I mean, unless this is fake news AI, which these days it's hard to tell what is and isn't, but let's assume for the moment it's not, there's auntie. Where's the hijab? And based on the report on her resume, she was in Tanzania after 9/11. So there you go. So Wendy, I go back. The number one thing we could do in the short term to make sure that Mamdani does not get into office is we could look into his paperwork and find the fouls and take back what we should have never have given him in the first place. We are giving out our citizenship like it comes out of a Cracker Jacks box. Auntie, my auntie. So Mamdani in his speech says that he is going to freeze rent. Freeze rent. Now listen, I'm all for lowering costs for people. But what are you going to do to freeze rent? You're going to go and tell a landlord who owns a property that you can't increase the rent? Hey, by the way, we're going to be increasing your expenses. We're going to be increasing your taxes because I'm going to be giving away so many free things here. And he's already said it. He already said it. He wants to lift the corporate tax rate in New York City from 7.5% to over 11%. So your business, you're going to wind up getting hit. So we're going to charge you more, but you can't charge all of my newly printed immigrants. You can't charge them any more money. We're going to be freezing these. We're going to lift the taxes higher in the New York area where the white people live. His words, not mine. We're going to go after white communities. His words, not mine. We're going to build housing for people. Build housing. So in other words, more projects. They're going to build Section 8 housing. This is going to look like the Middle East. Don't worry, you don't need to go out to work. You're going to get free busing. Free busing. Have you been to New York City? Do you know how many buses there are? Do you know how expensive it is to maintain a bus? The fuel for a bus driver, the insurance, the storage, the purchase of. He's going to give it all for free? Who do you think's paying for that? He says we're going to get these buses to travel around faster in New York. Oh, so now he's going to free up traffic. How is he going to free up traffic when there's going to be prayers in the middle of the street in 42nd Street in Times Square? What are we doing? Oh, DML, you're exaggerating. Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, no, I'm not. I'll get to that in a second, my friends. Free childcare. Free childcare. So they're going to be pumping out babies. The illegals pumping out babies. The new immigrants coming in pumping out babies. And they're all going to get free childcare. There's no such thing as free. If somebody's getting something for free, somebody else paid for it. And you know who's going to pay for it? People who look like you and people who look like me. And no, I'm not afraid to say it. So here you go, Wendy. You want to know how you solve this problem? It's the same way I've been telling you that it needs to be solved for the past 20 years, screaming at the top of my lungs, 250 million people hearing me say it every single day. Everybody doesn't know what they don't know. Oh, well, we stopped them at the border. Let me remind you all of something, and I love you all dearly. And in talking like this, I raise my level of expertise and credibility in this subject to the point of where it is, you cannot argue against me. You will lose. And I teach you these things so this way you can take what I've given you and you could go out and spread it in other words. If you're hitting the share button, so this way my videos get watched, fantastic. But that only goes so far. You need to learn what I tell you and go out and spread it. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to the people here on Facebook. How many of you were chanting, build the wall, build the wall? And I sat here and said, hey, the wall is like having a salad at your favorite steakhouse. It's not why you go. It's nice to have, but if the steak sucks and the salad's great, you're pissed off. We don't need a wall. Although I'll take it. All you had to do was crack down. Build the wall. We need the wall. We need the wall. I say, we don't need the wall. You're looking at this from the wrong direction. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. The border is secure right now. We haven't taken in anybody in months. Did you get your wall? Was the wall built? Is it because of the wall that we have nobody coming in? No. It has nothing to do with a wall. It has to do with the fact that we are enforcing laws and cracking down and not giving the incentive to come here anymore. The asylum BS is over. People are getting turned away. People are getting deported. You didn't need a freaking wall. You didn't need a wall. It didn't solve the problem. It didn't solve the problem of what we're dealing with right now in the United States of America. I had said to people forever, don't you understand that the majority of people who are in this country illegally are in this country illegally because they overstayed their legal entry, known as a visa? The majority of people in this country legally are people who overstayed. The majority of people who are in this country illegally overstayed their visa until Biden opened up the flood doors. And I'm sure now it's probably evened out. So when you look at the freaking takeover of Dearborn, when you look at the takeover of New York City, Where is it coming from? If you think the migrant who came over here in the last 3 years is why it is that we're getting Mamdani, you don't know what you're talking about. We have been giving out entry legally into this country in an insane manner. We have been taking in over 1.2 million people per year, a large amount of that coming from the Middle East and from Muslim-centric countries. Chinese. I mean, it's like, what are we doing? It's like self-destruction. It's like going to the local 7-Eleven and saying, yeah, can I have a big gulp glass, but I want it empty. Oh, why? What are you going to put in that? Oh, I'm going to go out inside. I'm going to put gasoline in it, and I want to have a big gulp gasoline. What? Exactly. 1.2 million people per year, every single year, without stop. Some years going up to 1.8 million people legally into this country. Then you've got the extra people coming in that shouldn't be coming in, overstaying visas, student visas, and you wonder why you're going to lose New York, why you lost Dearborn. What do you think? These people crossed over the border in the last 3 years? They've been sent here. They've been allowed here. 9/11, whether you think it was an inside job or not, when you go back and you look at the absolute applications from start to finish, there are lies throughout that application that still got approved. We did this to ourselves. So when Kim says, well, they're going to get what they voted for, that's what they want, Kim. That's what they want. When you look at the numbers right now in New York City, if you were to strip out all of the immigrants, the new arrival immigrants, and you were just to go to the native born, Yamdani, whatever his freaking name is, he's only getting 31% of the vote. But when you add in the immigrants are voting for this guy at near 70%. So the blend of the two is coming to where he's going to win. This isn't your pink-haired Democrat. Did you see the people? Ryan, can you play the video again without the sound? Or no? The video of Mamdani. Play Mamdani. Look at Mamdani. Look at the people behind him while he's speaking. Do you see yourself in that? Do you see anybody who looks like you in that? The 3 freaking people sitting right behind him are wearing turbans. I don't see us there. I don't see us represented there. The only person that looks like you or me is Kathy Hochul. And that's not me saying that everybody's got to be pearly white. Of course, that's what the leftists would say. Ah, you're a racist. No, I'm not a racist. What I'm pointing out there is that those 3 people sitting behind him do not represent the same belief system I do. If they did, they wouldn't be sitting there. They'd have a Trump t-shirt on. The people at that rally started to chant, tax the rich, as if the rich aren't being taxed, as if the middle class isn't already being taxed. These people want free stuff. And they want it to become an Islam-centered Mecca. They want New York City, the biggest city in the world, to be the point to which they can look at and say, this is Islam. You don't believe me? Ryan, get up video number 5. I go back to Wendy. Is Wendy now going to tell me not to trash on New York City for bringing out the videos to show what it is? Folks, I'm about to show you a video of Times Square. It lasts for a minute. You're going to be watching it for 1 minute. Play it.
مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
سمع الله لمن حمده.
ربنا
الله
أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
Now, I've had to explain myself over the course of time because people just don't understand something. If you say, look at this, look at this, look at this. Oh, you're a racist. You're a racist. You're a racist. I'm not a racist. You don't have to believe everything I believe in. You don't have to look like I look. I don't care. I'm all for live and let live. I said to somebody the other day, I said, I went and helped Ben Carson prepare for his 2016 first presidential debate. I traveled to Washington, D.C. It was a 10-hour travel day back and forth. If I were a racist, I would have told him to shove it up his ass. I wouldn't even have answered the phone. Nobody understands what the word racist means anymore. But you remember what I talked about with the pink house with the polka dots? Well, if my neighbor did that, I'd be pissed off. In fact, I would go do everything I possibly could at the town level to try to make it so this way that couldn't be the case. Because although it is his house, his choice, it is diluting mine. And so there has to be some set of rules, an HOA or something that keeps it so this way we can all live in peace. What you're watching happen is slowly but surely no-go zones, Sharia law. That is what's happening in the United States of America. Chip Roy, a representative out of Texas, just put forward a idea for a bill to outlaw Sharia law in the United States. The fact that we even have to think like that. Why? I mean, why would you put that out? Because you see what's happening to Texas. You see what's happening to New York. You see what's happening across the country. We are allowing this to metastasize. Nobody in the Trump administration is stopping this from happening. You're going to have another 1.2 million people coming in this year. In fact, Trump said, we need more immigration. No, we don't. That's what you get. Oh, DML, it was a one-off. It was a one-off. It was that one-night celebration thing. No, it wasn't a one-off. It happens all the time. And if you don't believe me, here you go. I got another video. You want to see one during the day? This is in a park in New York City. Play it, Ryan.
ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ نائمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى.
Reading your comments here, I see that a gentleman named Floyd says, "Where is Trump on this? Where is Trump on this? Trump's in Qatar. Trump has a Qatari guy on his flight. Why? Why? What do we get? We get this. You want to know why the Muslim Brotherhood isn't designated as a terrorist group? Go ask him. See what answer you get. We're getting bamboozled. You want to know why Qatar negotiated or helped negotiate the peace deal between Israel and Gaza? Palestinians? Do you think it's because for 1 second the Qataris want to save the Jews? No. It's because you keep your enemies closer. Oh, well, that's what Trump's doing. Yeah. He's keeping them real close. He's allowing them to live in New York City. He's allowing them to live all throughout the country. We're taking in. You think Qatar is building churches over in Qatar? They understand how to take over from within, and we're allowing it to happen in real time. These people aren't our friends. You know all those people that you saw in the park there? Let me tell you what happens. If you go and prevent them from praying, you instantaneously become the infidel. And by stopping them from praying, preventing them to pray, you now have a target on your head. Jihad. Islamic extremists will tell you that according to the Quran, that they are allowed to lie, cheat, steal, do whatever they have to do in the name of jihad. So when Mamdani tells you how it is that he wants to welcome the Jewish community in New York, when he tells you all the BS he's telling you, he's lying to you because that's what candidates do until they take over. And now that he seems to have a nice lead, he's going into mosques, he's going into Muslim areas and saying, we make up a huge population and not enough of you are voting. You need to all get out and vote. We're going to make the city look like us. But I return back to something. I started the show off with a radical Democrat, and I am going to end it with two radical Democrats. What you're watching happening in New York is now the single largest problem in the United States of America. I have said for the past 20 years that immigration, I didn't say illegal immigration, I said immigration is the biggest problem facing America, and it's going to be in the years to come. Even worse. I remember saying to Megyn Kelly, we should find the clip one day. And here we are. I warned of this. And it's spreading. In New Jersey, there is a race for governor. And the woman who wants to be the liberal governor, she wants to stick LGBTQ lessons down the throat of every parent and child. Don't believe me? Hear it for yourself. Go.
I believe that parents have the right to oversee their children's education. I would push an LGBTQ education into our schools. Parents have a right to opt out of a lot of things, but this is not an area where they should be opting out, because this is an area of understanding the background of people throughout our nation. And right now we see, for example, at the Naval Academy, an erasure of history.
There you go. White liberal female. Just as dangerous as your local Islamic terrorist. They are hideous. Not just them. I bring you to Chicago. The legal term for an illegal alien is just exactly that. Illegal alien. Undocumented immigrant is not a term. Illegal immigrant is not a term. It is an illegal alien. It is the legal term. Well, the mayor in Chicago will not use that term because he says it is the equivalent of slavery. Play it, Ryan.
Have illegal aliens. I don't know if that's
Well, that's
some
the
sort of sci-fi
that's the
message
legal
that you
term.
had.
Well, I'm not
Well,
going
listen,
to political.
the legal term for my people were slaves. You want me to use that term too?
If
So
you
look,
want,
let's
if you
just get the
want.
language right. We're talking about undocumented individuals that are human beings. The last thing that I'm going to do is accept the type of racist, nasty language to describe human beings.
No, that's just part one. Part two, I won't even size it up for you. I'll just let it play for itself. But for people who cannot see it, the mayor is just standing frozen as he's being asked this question. Play it.
Well, the real Chicagoans that I talk to, that I communicate with, mostly black and brown, actually, tell me that you don't seem to know the difference between illegal aliens and real Chicago citizens. They feel that you are siding with the illegal aliens over them in their communities. And sadly,
William, let's get to the question.
let's get to the question. The real question is simply this. I don't know how to make it any more direct. An illegal alien from Nicaragua grabbed a woman on the north side
Is
last
the question?
week, bashed her head into the sidewalk, knocked her unconscious, and raped her. If that had been your wife, Stacey.
Okay, all right, we're not going to answer it. Thank you. Thanks, William.
All right.
Would you want ICE to deport her?
All right.
To
Let's
deport that
let's move on.
Yes or no?
Let's move on.
Answer the question as a man, not as mayor, but as a man. Would you
Yeah,
want
thanks.
So there you have it. I started off with a radical Democrat who is now crossing over the border into Canada because he says this country is just too dangerous under Donald J. Trump. And then I showed you a man who is basically trying to change our biggest city, the biggest city in the world, the lead of all things financial in this country, about to take it over. And it is going to become just one huge picture of the Middle East. It is going to be Dearborn on steroids. Short term, I repeat what I said. The Trump administration must look into every last document presented by Mamdani and find the one little crumb that leads back to dishonesty. If he lied on his applications at any level, and I know he did, there's no doubt in my mind that he did. Representative Fine says the same thing. We can prevent this from happening. The question is, does the Trump administration have that sort of spine? I'd like to believe it does. I'd like to believe it does. Long term, you got to cut off the funnel. For as long as we have these people coming in here and they're reproducing at much greater numbers than your traditional nuclear family here in the United States, because the traditional nuclear family cannot afford to have children like they once did. Because here you got a guy in New York City saying that he's going to go and lift the rates, tax rates on corporations that are basically run by Americans. And he's going to lift the tax rate on white communities. So this way they can pay for the free stuff that his immigrants get. Those immigrants have the babies. They get the free child care. You, of course, won't qualify for it, but you will qualify to pay for it. I know it's really nice to see that we have a peace deal now in Malaysia, and I'm sure there's some excellent things to see in Japan. And it's nice to see that the stock market is up again today. But we got much bigger fish to fry. And yet, we're just floundering. I hope we could see a better tomorrow. Hope the president gets back on a plane and starts focusing in on what we need to focus in on. Because if not, When he's gone, we're going to have to deal with this shit. And that's the fact. Until the next time, planning on Thursday, 9 a.m., here on Facebook and on Rumble and on Team DML. I wish you the greatest of days. Always stay optimistic about the future of America. We haven't been buried yet. So make your phone calls to your senators and to your congresspeople and tell them that you don't want to see what it is that you're seeing happen in New York City, happening in your town and in your city and in your state. Hold these people accountable. Run for office yourself. Till the next time, may God bless you. God bless President Trump, J.D. Vance, the Vice President, your entire family, all my followers and friends out there on social media. I hope you hit the share button. Stay well.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML.